Hi, my name's Mark. I'm one of the pastors here at Trillium. In 2011, President Obama ordered the assassination of Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was the head of Al-Qaeda. He was kind of the mastermind, ultimate mastermind of the attack on 9/11 that brought down the two World Trade Center towers, and the attack on the Pentagon, and potentially another attack on a facility in Washington that got disrupted. And a huge amount of damage was done to the United States. 3,000 people or so were killed, and $150 billion of damage, property damage, huge injury. And so when the Americans found out where Osama bin Laden was residing in Pakistan in 2011, Obama had a decision to make. And he ordered the assassination of Osama bin Laden that was carried forward, and that's what happened. Yet it makes me wonder, in the context of Jesus' teachings that we've been looking at for the last few weeks, love your enemy, bless those who curse you, pray for those who hurt you. How does Obama's action fit in with that? I was watching an interesting little 5-minute or 8-minute or so video from a Bill Maher show. Bill Maher is a comedian. He's on cable these days. He's a real harsh critic of religion. He had a New York Times columnist, Ross Douthat, on as his guest, and they were arguing back and forth about religion. I thought Douthat was quite brilliant in pairing Bill Maher's critique until the last question, when he brought up Osama bin Laden assassination and whether that fit or jived with Jesus' teaching. And Douthat stumbled on this one a bit, I thought. He came up with some kind of just war theory and such. But the truth, of course, is that the church has been struggling for 2,000 years with this teaching of Jesus about loving your enemy and blessing those who curse you and praying for those who hurt you. And that's a tough one, I got to tell you. It's one of the hardest things we might ever do in life. It's kind of like the Mount Everest or the K2 of moral spiritual teaching. And to climb it, I think really means that we have to fundamentally see life differently, to change the place where we perceive reality from. It's almost a transformation to get to that place in life. You may have had the experience in your own personal life. The struggle of loving someone who's cruel to you or mean to you or nasty to you or who has hurt you in life, and maybe a small way or big way. To get over that and to see them as the whole human being they are is an enormously challenging struggle in life. I was reading a passage in the New Testament, and Jesus was talking about this as he called his disciples. He was seeing the pain and hurt of people's lives, and he sent out the disciples in pairs to minister to a hurting world, and he said to them, don't take on the big challenges right away. Don't prove out your principles and the tasks you've been given in life by taking on the hardest thing you could find. It's like, don't work out loving your enemy by taking on Osama bin Laden or Adolph Hitler or Stalin or whoever it might be, some huge historic figure that you have to kind of get this idea around. Instead, work it out in the neighborhoods you're part of, in the little facets of life, in the little ways you can minister grace and goodness to people who aren't always that good or kind back to you. That's where you test out the principle, and you let it grow from there. Jesus was talking to the disciples. You kind of let it kind of resonate out until it can ultimately encompass even the big historic figures of life, like Hitler or bin Laden or Genghis Khan or whoever it might be. I think that is really wise advice, because so often in life we get consumed by the principle and we look for ways for why it won't work or can't work, instead of putting our energy on why it can work, and in some sense why it must work. If we put our energy and attention into why loving our enemy is so important and why it needs to work in this world at the micro level of life, I think there we will find an answer that we can actually live with and make practical in the way we live with each other. And then, as they say, it will resonate out to others in grace and goodness until it encompasses all, everyone. Kind of like what we see here at Trillium, offer friendship and fellowship to all. That includes everyone, but might not begin with the person right in front of you, right before us. I think we'll find actually that when we allow ourselves to be God's hands in loving our enemy, we may also have power to bless those who are hurting and heal those who are struggling, and to allow the spiritual principle of multiplication to unfold itself in our lives so that miracles come forth. And it always begins with the person and the reality right in front of us.